So let's find out whether this dash cam is worth the £65 price tag. So today I'm going to be reviewing another camera. Now this one was kindly sent to me by Toguard, and it's the CE41A. Now this is a two-channel dash cam, both 1080p, and as I said, it's £65 normally, and it has various different things like a G-sensor, parking mode, 171 angle lens, and yeah, I'm interested to see what this is like because I'm used to having more expensive cameras. So anyway, let's have a look at what you get for your £65. It's all nicely presented inside, which is quite nice. And then there's two black boxes. You can get one out, get them both out. So there's various different things inside, but let's have a look at the black boxes first. So here's the big one. So inside here is the mount, the suction mount, which is quite useful. And then we've got the power cable by the looks of it. And looks like you've also got a sticky pad, which is really useful. I personally prefer sticky pads because they don't fall off in the summer, so that's nice to have. And a blue thing, I don't know what that is to be honest with you. Looks like some clips and a USB wire, I'm guessing, to get to your computer. Yeah. And then what do we got in this one? I assume this is going to be the main camera itself. That's nice. So, looks good for £65. And does that turn all the way around? It does. That's really useful. It looks really nice, yeah. So there's the main camera. So you've got the main one and then the one that you can turn to however you want to have it. So I suppose you could use this as a side camera, couldn't you, if you had it like that. Anyway, the camera, let's have a look at what the paperwork says. So there's one of these stickers, and finally in the bottom is an instruction manual on the camera itself. So here's the manual. Yeah, nice thick, so I suppose it's got every language under the sun. First language is English, and does it actually make sense, or is it Chinese English? No, it looks like it makes sense. It doesn't appear to be Chinese English, so that's useful. Being translated properly. Anyway, let's have a look at what this camera's got to offer. So here we have the camera now in place. I got it on the suction mount. If I was doing this on a permanent basis, I would have it on a sticky pad mount that they offered, because in the summer this will come off because the sun heats the windscreen and the air expands and it falls off. I would also tuck this wire in properly, but as it's not permanent, I've just run it straight down to the power supply. So if I now press OK, that turns the recording on and off like so. So you need it off to press the menu like all other cameras. You then got the menu, and then we then got loop recording, which you can then choose to 1, 2 or 3 minutes. Our high dynamic range, I haven't touched. Exposure, I haven't touched. Motion detection, touch that. Recording, the date stamp, you can turn it on and off. The G sensor, you can decide how sensitive you want that to be. Parking monitor, so it does have a parking mode, but you can't have that on while you're driving around. You have to turn it off and turn it back on once you stop. Unlike the more expensive cameras where you can leave it on all the time and it automatically switches between the two. And then we then press the menu button to get the other settings. So you've got screensaver, how long you want the screen to be on, which I believe you can choose between a minute, 30 seconds or off. I'll have it on a minute. Then auto power off, so how long it stays once it loses power. Light frequency, the beep sound, you turn it off. Obviously the language, the date and time, and format the SD card. And if you want to restore it all to factory settings. And a version, so I presume you can then update it if you'd like. LED light, I assume that's for nighttime use, which it didn't turn on, and back to the beginning. So both cameras, front and rear, are 1080p, but let's start with the main camera, the one that's pointing out the front, because that's the one you're going to be wanting to know the most about. The video quality is quite good. It's not grainy, you can see things very clearly, and taking a couple of screenshots of number plates so you see for yourself that it's quite good. It does struggle with the sun, but most of the time it's pretty good. It's a little bit overexposed, as you can see from this clip. The van head is silver with writing on it to advertise his company or his trade, but on the camera it appears white, so that's obviously not brilliant, but you can still read the number plate rather clearly, so that's all you need to know really. You don't need to know what the company is. The sky is also quite white a lot of the time, which isn't brilliant. With other cameras or more expensive cameras, you can normally see the clouds and everything and see the sky is blue, but this can mean that because it's overexposed, the camera might be quite good at night. So the interior camera has a similar problem to the front one. It's overexposed, and it does mean that you can't really use it as a rear camera if you've got sunlight or anything like that, because it then looks rather white outside the windows. However, I have seen other footage when I was looking through, and if you don't have direct sunlight, it does actually show it. So let's see what it's like at night. A lot of dash cams, all sorts of price range, struggle with this, so it'd be interesting to see how this one does. So there's no surprise that a cheap camera will struggle at night time. For reference, I have turned the dip beam on and off so you can see what it looks like, but it is very grainy whether you have it on or off, so it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But it would show a situation which would be useful for insurance purposes. However, it might not show a number plate or a reg plate that you might need if they drove off afterwards. However, the interior camera, I was very impressed with the night vision. It works very well, and I wouldn't change it. I think it's very good. So overall, the video quality is fine as long as you don't want to drive around at night. So let's now go on to the sound test. So anyway, I've now got the camera set up. Here I've got it on the suction mount because it's not a permanent setup and I don't have the wire done properly. I just have it plugged into the 12 volt. So the sound is very good. The microphone is pretty good. It's nice and clear. So yes, there's not really much to say other than it's a good microphone and produces good sound. Now on to saving files. Now I don't normally spend that much time on the saving files section, the sort of research behind it, but I had to because I realised there wasn't a lot file button on the camera. After reading through the instructions and doing a little bit of googling, I can't find one. So it shows that the only way you can save a file on this camera is if the G sensor gets set off. So you have to rely on the fact that in an accident that the G sensor will be set off. So therefore you might want to turn the G sensor up high, but that's a bit of a downfall. I would have liked a save button, a lock file button on the camera. I think that would have been really helpful, and most other cameras have that. So in summary, is it worth the £65? The short answer is yes. Two 1080p cameras for £65 is an absolute bargain. If you need a budget dash cam, then this is a good choice. If you're going to be using it for YouTube, you know, uploading it regularly, I would recommend maybe a more expensive camera, because the quality, in my opinion, I wouldn't want to use it all the time in my videos. However, if you just want to use it for insurance purposes, i.e. if you have a crash you want to prove who's at fault or a hit and run, then I think most of the time the camera is a good shout. It does everything you want it to do. So anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and comment, and if you are new here, please do consider subscribing. It would be much appreciated.